Okay, I think we'll get started. Last lecture, we laid down some definitions and these ideas of concentration. Today, we're going to talk about the equilibrium conditions of the heterogeneous mixture, and then bring in total internal energy and enthalpy. So two key thermodynamic properties, as I'm sure you're aware. Okay, so our equilibrium conditions here, note here that we're talking here about intensive properties, pressure. So what's got to be true here? The pressure of the whole system. We can't have an imbalance of pressure between a particle and the host, or the host and the particle, or the external environment, if we're going to be sitting here in mechanical equilibrium. So we're at some pressure for the whole system, and that pressure for the whole system then has to be equal across all the different phases of that system. So the condition of that is that the pressure for the total is going to be the pressure of the host and the pressure of the particle. So this holds true if we make a small change. So that small change has to change the pressure of each of these. Notice this is distinct, as we'll get to here, distinct from extensive properties where you would add these. Here, these are the same. So whatever changes here, changes here, changes here. So if this changes by a small amount, this changes by that smallest amount. This does not change by twice that amount. That's kind of just a kind of thing to keep in mind here. Same is going to be true with temperature. If we're in thermal equilibrium, then we should have this equilibrium condition. And so we have this with the change in temperature. And then the last condition here, this is why mass is actually sometimes better to work with. And that is if you imagine like squeezing the system or expanding the system, of course, the volume, the density, those are not going to be constant, but mass will be, because we put this much mass in to create the mixture. As long as we're not losing particles, which we're not in this case, then we are going to maintain a constant mass. And if we have a constant total mass, and we know how much we put in, we have a constant fractional mass. All right, well, let's get to the two key thermodynamic variables. For those of you who've had a lot of thermodynamics, mainly what we're doing is just trying to, remind a little bit of that, and then make that transition over from volume to density. It's a little, again, it's going to be a little bit easier, and also make the transition from extensive variable to intensive variable with mass. So specific quantities, like specific, we're going to talk about specific free internal energy, specific enthalpy today. Then we'll talk about like specific heat capacity, and other things like that. Okay, so let's start with the first law, and I'll go kind of quickly through this since you should have a background in thermodynamics, but I'll go through first law, and you might be familiar with how we make this change. We say all work is interconvertible, so we can think about only pressure volume work, and that's good enough. Then we have external pressure, dV, this is our work term, as a generalized force, generalized displacement work term. And then we have heat. By the thermodynamic definition of heat, if we're reversible here, then P equals P external, and Q equals TdS, thermodynamic definition of entropy. I said heat, entropy. And so we get this equation. This is now all in state functions, so we can release the condition that we went reversible, because state functions are path independent. So here we are with the state function version of the first law, and notice now we are extensive, and we are talking about the whole system, not the component pieces. So let's try to fish out those component pieces, and hopefully we get a nice relationship between the mass percents. Okay, so one thing we're going to need to do a bit is translate between volume and density. And so we know this relationship here. So if I have a V, if I look at a dV, then that's going to be partial V partial P dP. just by the nature of differential forms, or if you had calculus, it's the same version as a kind of a chain rule type thing here, but for differential forms. And then, okay, what is dv? What is partial p, partial v, partial rho? Then we have minus m over rho squared. So we're going to see this a lot, where we get a minus and then a rho squared, because that's our because of this base relationship here. And so this is our conversion from dv to d rho. So we can make that change here. So the minus sign cancels here. We get a plus sign. The p just comes along for the ride. And here's our m over rho squared d rho. So this is our system expression, state functions, in terms of s and rho now instead of s and v. Okay. Well, so let's come back to here. So let's now come back to here. So we're going to branch off now, and we're going to get the individual components. So we're going to go back to here, and we're going to realize that these are extensive properties. So that means that they're going to be the sum of the internal particle and host. So the ds is this, and the dv is this. Just like we had over here, dvp is this, and dvh is this. So notice here, we're bringing in an mp and an mh. So I'm going to put that in here. Right, I'm going to put that in here. One of the difficulties here is U, S, they look pretty similar when I write them on the board as a capital letter or as a small letter. These are still capital S's, so we're still extensive here. Now, let's collect these terms. So this is 4 terms, but I'm going to arrange them so that we have the particle and the host sections here. So now I'm going to, let's write out the extensive term as mass times the specific quantity. So this is a lowercase u. So this is still du. And then this is ds right here, dsp, and this is dsh. So we're writing out as the extensive property as mass times the intensive property of specific entropy here. This is fine. This is already that way. So let's now divide this equation by mass. So we get just our specific internal energy. Now, what do we have here? We're going to get mp over m. Well, that's just phi. And then, so we're going to get phi ds. And then we're going to get, I'm going to use this term here. So I'll do these 2 terms first. So I'm going to get a phi m dp. So I'm going to pull that all out. I should have a parentheses here. I'm going to pull that all out. Each of these are going to have a phi m. So I'm going to have this little component here. And then likewise, the same thing's going to happen over here. I've got an mh and an mh here. Dividing by m, that's going to give us a 1 minus phi m. And I get this bit here. Well, what is this bit? This bit is precisely the specific total internal energy for the particle. And this is the specific total internal energy for the host. And so again, nicely, we get a expression that is this weighted average of the mass percentage for total internal energy. This kind of speaks to why mass is a little bit more important. We were able to do things like this that would have been harder to do with volume. Okay. Now let's look at enthalpy. So enthalpy is just an auxiliary function that is defined. It's a useful auxiliary function that's defined to be total internal energy plus PV. So we do a Legendre transformation. Now let's go to specific. So we're going to go specific enthalpy, specific total internal energy, and specific volume. So volume divided by mass. Well, what is volume divided by mass? That's just 1 over density. So we get, this is all lowercase here, specific internal energy plus P over density for H. So let's take and do a differential on that. So we get dH equals TdS plus P over, so this is coming from, this bit is coming from du, so this is really du. And then here we're using the chain rule, or the product rule. So first times product rule. So, well, actually the quotient rule. So here's the quotient rule, kind of spread out. So this bit would be doing a d rho here. So we're going to get a, here's where our minus rho squared comes in, and then d rho, and then a 1 over rho dp, because the 1 over rho here. So yeah, basically we're doing the product rule of this. Like that. Okay, so then our enthalpy for the system becomes this, as a specific enthalpy. Now, let's write out the specific entropy here. So that is just going to be coming from, basically coming from over here. If we just look at these two terms, then we're going to get the total entropy is also going to be this mass weighted ratio. So we see that we can separate out now the particle and the host entropy. So that's what's going to happen here. And then let's look at this bit. This is from the last lecture, and that was an important equation we derived last lecture. So now let's add these two together. So we're going to get T times the entropy, specific entropy, and then plus 1 over P, so that's this bit here, times D, sorry, I said 1 over P, 1 over rho times this, and dP. Okay, so now let's just collect terms. So I'm going to take the terms that are multiplying the phi m, pull that out, and I get this. The terms that are multiplying the phi 1 minus phi m, and then we get this. And then we recognize this. What is this? Well, that is just the specific enthalpy for the particle. And this is just the specific enthalpy for the host. Each of these have to have their own specific enthalpy and entropy and free energy, because they themselves could be considered a thermodynamic system, right? So they just happen to be mixed in with these others, and so there should be a connection here, or the equations should be very similar, as we're seeing here, just in terms of the particle values and the host values versus the whole system values. Okay, so the purpose of today then was to get these two major thermodynamic properties taken care of.